Welcome to DPZ Web International Limited. On this video, I'm going to show you how you can add transaction history to this online banking website. Don't forget, this video is meant for educational purpose and for legit purpose. And please, if this is your first time you are coming across my video, do as well subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell notification button for you to be seeing new video whenever I upload. This online banking also have transaction history. Most time when you log into a bank account, you will see a transaction history. So this bank also have a transaction history. So before we start, you log in as the admin. Okay, now we are going to log in as the admin. You enter the username, then you enter the password, then you click on login. So we have logged in the admin. We want to add transaction to this user account. So, okay, the username is Gary. Okay, we are going to go to add transaction. Okay, you click on add trans. Okay, here we can add transaction. Don't forget, before you add transaction, you have to work with dates. If not, your transaction will not correspond. If you are using yesterday's date as transaction, make sure the next transaction will be today's date. If you are using today's date as transaction, make sure the next transaction will be tomorrow's date. Because if you miss the transaction date, or for example, you use today's date as transaction, the next transaction you use yesterday date, the transaction history will not correspond. So you have to work according to the date. Listen again, you have to work according to the date. If you are using today's date, meaning the next transaction will be tomorrow's date. If you are using last month date, meaning the next transaction will be this month date. Do not use today's date and use yesterday's date on the next transaction. If not, your transaction history will not correspond. I believe you understand. Now, we want to add the transaction history now. Okay, let's start from April 4th. The narration will be purpose of the transaction, then for car purchase. Okay, for car purchase, meaning we purchase a car, then it should be debit because we are sending it out. We are debiting $5,000. Then you submit. Our previous balance is $1.9 million. So once we remove this $5,000, it will also deduct from this available balance. So we click on submit. This is the work of the admin. Don't forget. You can see we have 1.9 million before, now it's 1.8. So the money have been deducted from the available balance. Now the transaction history have been added to the account. So we want to add another transaction history. Okay, we are working with April. Don't forget we already made use of 4th. So don't go back to 3rd. So you move forward. That's the only way your transaction can arrange very well. So we are going to use on the 5th now. Okay, let's use credit. $200,000. Then narration, which is the purpose of the crediting. Contract award. Okay, then you submit. This $200,000 will be added to $1.8 million. You can see is now available balance is now $2 million. $2 million plus. Okay, now we want to add another transaction. So go back. We have made use of on the 4th, we have made use of the 5th. So let us make use of the 6th. So it should be debit. Then the narration, the purpose of the debit is tax fee. Okay, Then how much are we going to debit for the tax? We are debiting $1,500. So we submit. The $1,500 will be deducted from this $2 million. So you can see it. So it has been deducted from this $2 million. Now we want to add other transaction. We are still working with April. So we have made use of 4th, 5th, 6th. Okay, let us make use of 7. On the 7th, okay. Transaction, house purchase. House purchase. House purchase. Then it should be debit. Since we are purchasing, it should be debit. So the house purchase cost $500,000. So submit. This $500,000 will be debited from this $2 million. You can see the available balance. It was $2 million before. Now it is remaining $1.5 million plus. Okay. Now, I believe you understand the way to add transaction as admin. The way you can add transaction to your user account as the admin of this online banking website. So let us go and log in this user account for you to see the transaction you just added. Okay, we are going to log in Gary account. First of all, we log out the admin. Okay, now let us log in Gary account. Username Gary, then password Gary1. Okay, login. We just log in Gary account now. You can see the available balance $1.5 million plus. Okay. Now look at the transaction we added. You can see the transaction is well arranged accordingly. On the 4th, on the 5th, on the 6th, on the 7th. It is well arranged and the transaction history is well arranged. Now, if you miss the date, let for example you use on the 4th and the next transaction you want to use on the 3rd, or you want to use on the 2nd, your transaction history will not correspond. You have to arrange your transaction history accordingly. Make sure you always work with the dates. That is how to add transaction history to user accounts. Please stay tuned as I teach you the next step on this online banking website. And don't forget, if this is your first time you are coming across my video, do as well subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell notification button for you to be seeing new video all the time. Also, don't forget, this video is meant for educational purpose and for legit purpose. If you need this script, kindly contact me on the number showing on the screen.